Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you the main changes in the NAR proposed settlement on the class action lawsuit. And if you read articles online or you've watched some videos, Instagram reels, there's something I'm going to share with you which is part of that proposed settlement that I personally haven't heard anybody talk about. And actually, that, in my opinion, will be the biggest change for the real estate industry and how real estate is bought and sold. So let me start by sharing with you what this class action lawsuit is about. This is a very complex conversation. I have a lot of notes here, so I want to make sure I don't forget to tell you anything that I wrote down. So this NAR class action lawsuit came about because home sellers said that they had to pay a buyer's agent's commission, and that was not negotiable. And there was an accusation of collusion to inflate real estate commissions. So NAR, on Friday of last week, the news came out that they agreed to a $4.18 million proposed settlement. The settlement still needs court approval before it is finalized. Now, part of this proposed settlement, there is a court document which is 108 pages. And like I said earlier, a lot of what I've heard and read is just surface level. I actually looked at this 108-page document, and there's some details there that you may not be aware of that will definitely bring some major changes to how real estate is handled in this country. Change number 1, I'm going to read it to you how it's stated. Commission offers moved off the MLS. NAR has agreed to implement a new rule prohibiting offers of compensation in the multiple listing service. Offers of compensation could continue to be an option consumers can pursue off MLS through negotiation and consultation with real estate professionals. Sellers can offer buyer concessions on the MLS. For example, concessions for buyer closing costs. This change will take effect mid-July 2024. Let's talk about this. What will happen likely, this is my opinion, what will likely happen is listing agents, when they are on a listing appointment, they're only going to negotiate their commission. I believe that's way more likely. Now, they could continue to do business as they used to, meaning negotiate a portion of the whole commission that's going to be going to a buyer's agent. They can do that, but it's not going to be in the MLS anywhere, okay? But I don't think that's likely. I think listing agents are going to just negotiate their portion of the commission and say to the sellers, when an offer comes in, if the buyer's agent is asking for a commission because it's going to be negotiable, then they will discuss it at that point. And by the way, sellers, the commission being off the MLS doesn't mean that sellers are not willing to negotiate commission for the buyer's agents. Those are two completely different things. They may or may not, but it doesn't necessarily mean they will negotiate. So now, instead of negotiating price and terms when you receive an offer, you're a listing agent, you receive an offer on your listing, you negotiate price and terms. You may also have to negotiate price, terms, and the buyer's agent commission. That's going to be up for negotiation. And if a buyer's agent chooses to call a listing agent before they show a listing to ask questions, and sometimes buyer's agents will do that. Tell me about the property, or we're not gonna tell them anything about price or have those conversations. Buyer's agents could ask, and they could ask about commission. If your seller agreed at the listing agreement to pay a commission, even though it's not the MLS and they ask, you could tell them. But if they have not, as I said earlier, you'll be negotiating price, terms, and commission. That's change number one. Change number two. Now, this is way more interesting. Written agreements for MLS participants acting for buyers. The settlement provides that MLS participants working with buyers must enter into written representation agreements with those buyers before they open the door. This change will go into effect in mid-July 2024. That's what most people are talking about, articles, videos, all the stuff online. Now, looking at that 108-page court document, there's some additional information about this that really is going to change everything. I'm going to read a direct quote from that court document. To the extent that an agent working with a buyer will receive compensation from any source, the agreement must specify and conspicuously disclose the amount or rate of compensation it will receive and how this amount will be determined. The amount of compensation reflected must be objectively ascertained and may not be open-ended. Example, it cannot be whatever amount the seller is offering. Cannot say that. Buyer's agents may not receive compensation from any source that exceeds the amount or rate agreed to in the agreement with the buyer. This is really interesting. And there's a lot of stuff I want to talk to you about regarding this portion right here. Now, one thing that the court document doesn't say is who is gonna pay that specified amount of commission. It doesn't say. So, again, at first glance, if you just look at what everybody's posting and reading, and what you're reading, you would say, okay, well, commissions being off the MLS may be the bigger change, but it's not. Buyer's agents don't usually have buyers sign a buyer representation agreement, much less before they show them homes. Most buyer's agents don't do that. And having the specified commission there, I mean, that changes everything. So I want to present a scenario to you. If a buyer signs an agreement with a buyer's agent, let's say the agreement say the buyer's agent commission is going to be 2.5% of the purchase price, and buyers go out with that buyer's agent and they find a home they love, they make an offer, and as part of the offer, the buyer's agent asks the seller to pay that 2.5% commission. And the seller says, no, I'm not willing to pay 2.5%, but I'll pay 1.5%. Well, since that agreement didn't say who was going to pay the commission, the buyer will be on the hook for the difference. The buyer, by signing that agreement without stating who's going to pay, they agreed to make up that difference. Now, how many buyers would be willing to sign this agreement and be on the hook for who knows how much, thousands of dollars? So, again, even though an NAR stated that in this settlement agreement, they've always encouraged buyers' agents to use a buyer representation agreement when working with buyers. The truth is most buyers' agents didn't use it. Now it's not encouraged anymore. Now it's required. And I believe it's going to be a challenge for buyers' agents to get buyers to sign this and agree to it. they cannot even get paid more than what is specified on the agreement. If somehow the listing agent, they negotiated the buyer's agent commission ahead of time when they took the listing, the seller agreed to pay, as an example, 3% to a buyer's agent, and the signed buyer representation agreement says 2%, the agent can only collect 2%. The negotiation of the buyer's agent's commission will now start before they even show a property to buyers. Buyer's agents, in my opinion, will cut commission to get buyers the same way that some listing agents cut commission to take listings. Now, I don't know if this is going to be okay or not, but if there's a possibility of putting an additional clause that exempts the buyer from any responsibility of compensation to their agent, well then, I guess it's buyer's agents will sign it if it's very clearly stated that they're not going to be paying any portion of that commission. Now, buyers can also call the listing agent directly. See, I want you to think about this with me. How likely is it that a buyer will pay for that? A lot of buyers don't have like extra cash and thousands of dollars that they would say, sure, I'm willing to pay your commission. No problem. They don't. A lot of buyers, they're putting down payment. They have closing costs. They might want to buy or remodel or buy new furniture, whatever. Nobody has like an extra bunch of money. And many of them may say, you know what, it's okay. I can call the listing agent directly. Or a lot of buyers also feel like, hey, all the information I need is online. I can figure it out. I can find the house that I want to buy online, and if I need help with contract or paperwork, I can use an attorney. And then there's the added perception that buyer's agents don't really do much. I mean, there's been so many comments on videos related to the initial lawsuit stuff that came out last year of a lot of people saying, yeah, buyer's agents don't do anything anyway. They shouldn't get paid a commission. Some people have that perception. So, buyer's agents will need to be very careful on how they're gonna present this agreement to buyers. And I believe that I don't think much is gonna change for sellers. Actually, I'm going to give you some of my concluding thoughts here in a moment. As always, for sellers and listing agents, pricing homes correctly, well-priced listings will control the market, will create more exposure, and really pricing their home to sell, which has always been important because overpriced listings don't sell, will be huge leverage in terms of creating exposure for sellers. And obviously, when listings are well priced, they sell quickly and they sell for the most money possible. And it's always been like that. That's not changing. So here's some concluding thoughts for you. Number one, prices are not going to go down. In my opinion, definitely not going to go down. And sellers won't sell for less because they may not be paying the buyer's agent commissions. If they're only paying the listing agent commission somehow, they're not going to say, sure, I'm paying less, so I'm going to sell for less. I don't think that's going to happen. Number two, overall commissions will go down. I don't think listing agents commissions, strong listing agents, they're going to continue to do incredibly well, or perhaps even better. Listing agents are used to negotiating commission when they take listings. discount brokers, flat fees, all kinds of stuff. Buyer's agents are not. They've never had to negotiate commission. Some rare cases, maybe if there's an issue prior to closing, but listing agents are used to that, where buyer's agents are not. So overall commissions will go down. I believe buyer's agents, whatever they may be used to getting paid, because there's no fixed commission, but I believe that will go down. Number 3, sellers are gonna benefit from number 1 and number 2. Sellers are gonna benefit because prices are not gonna go down and overall commissions will go down. Number 3 or number 4, buyer's agents will make less money. And many of them, I believe, will get out of real estate because it's gonna require a lot more knowledge, skill, providing value, expertise for buyer's agents to get paid from now on. Number 5, it will be harder for buyers that are tight in money or can't or won't agree to pay a buyer's agent commission. It's going to be harder because some people think they could find everything online and, you know, this is going to be so easy and smooth. But if you're a real estate agent and you've sold any amount of homes, you know that so much can happen in real estate transactions. So some buyers, because they're not able to, or they don't want to pay a real estate commission, they always have the option to contact the listing agent directly, but some of them are going to choose to do it on their own and they're going to go unrepresented, and there will be issues. You might have some easy transactions here and there, but usually as real estate agents, we know that a lot of stuff can come up and buyers won't have the experience of a professional to help them navigate that. So who are the winners and losers in all of this? Sellers are definitely winners. They make more money and they're going to pay less commission. Strong listing agents are winners because they're used to having to show value to earn their commission anyway, and they may earn more commission in some cases if they negotiate that ahead of time when they represent both parties, since some buyers are going to be contacting the listing agent. Losers. Buyers are gonna lose because some of them may go unrepresented and end up with a real estate transaction that could potentially have issues and that could cost them money. And then buyer's agents could be losers in this situation because being a buyer's agent, here's the reality of it. I've always said this. I mean, I'm about listings. Being a buyer's agent has never been easy. In my opinion, it's way harder to be a buyer's agent than a listing agent. But it's about to get exponentially harder. Listing agents are gonna really have to expand in every way and become really true professionals, or they're gonna be out of business. And I personally feel that this is gonna raise the standards for the industry, which is a much needed thing that has to happen. The real estate industry has a very negative public perception. And obviously, creating more skilled professionals, knowledgeable agents that provide a lot of value to sellers and buyers is going to be a very welcome change to this industry. Thanks for watching this video. Put your comments, questions below, and I will see you on the next one.